This is my exact plan on what I'm going to do to go from $10,000 to $50,000 a month, hopefully. Right now, my niche is in the macroeconomic side of YouTube. I have to add more leverage if I want to expand this business. I have two different options. You can either be Planet Fitness or an expensive Lifetime or Equinox. What did Planet Fitness do? Planet Fitness, they opened a million gyms. They opened as many as they could, 20 bucks a month or whatever it is. They get as many monthly income as they could. If I were to do that and to make $50,000 a month, I would need 10 more clients. And that would be ridiculous amount of workload to manage. I'd have to hire an additional 30 employees, and it would be a ridiculous amount of work and effort just to squeeze out $50,000 a month. And that would saturate my entire niche, at least from what I'm currently doing with everyone that I'm working with. The next thing I could do is add more leverage and be a Lifetime or Equinox, to where if you go to one of these super high-end gyms, it's basically a club. They have food, coffee, a hair salon, basketball court, swimming lessons, a pool. They have personal training. They have all these different ways for them to make money from. The gym membership's $200 a month, and then all these different things is going to charge you maybe $500 a month in different costs. And now each client that they have is paying them a ridiculous amount, and it's a much higher quality client than the Planet Fitness member who is complaining about all these different things. And that is the route that I'm going to take. I'm going to expand my business and what I'm providing to accommodate for different things. So this weekend, I'm going to be meeting with someone. He has about 300,000 followers on YouTube. He has over $1.5 billion in real estate, well over 10,000 units. He's a legit, super entrepreneur, but he's completely underutilizing what he's doing. And so what I'm going to do is, my plan is to go to him. Here's the pitch. Right now, how many hours are you spending a week on YouTube? I'm judging by his content, I'm going to guess 10, 15 hours. So I'm going to say, you're going to stop all of that. You're going to do no work. All I'm going to do is take you around and showcase what it's like to run a billion-dollar business. He's managing hundreds of employees. He's doing all these things. And that is what I think is valuable. So I will come up with the ideas. I'll formulate everything. His workload's going to go down. I'm going to say, pay. I don't want anything. All I want is a part of the ad revenue, and then a funnel into the other businesses that we can drive the viewers into. And I think I can realistically generate him 3-4 million views a month. That could net $30,000-$40,000 a month coming in. If I can take half of that, that would be 20,000. But the real value that you get would be from funneling them into different products. So he has a few different products, and if you can funnel the viewers into those products because they've come to know, like, and trust the person, and they want to actually learn from them, then there's a huge asymmetry there. If you can get those 4 million subscribers, maybe 1% of them, you have a decent amount of people who want to buy a paid product. And then if I can get 50% of that, I think it is very highly likely that I can get to $50,000 a month in a very short amount of time. And all I'm doing is utilizing his channel that he already has to a much greater degree. This is kind of an offer that would be very hard to turn down. I'm decreasing his workload, so he's not going to have to spend any time on YouTube. I'll be the manager, the director, the recorder. I'll do everything. I'm going to come up with everything. All he has to do is do his day-to-day work. 2, he's not going to have to pay me anything. If he doesn't have to pay me anything, why would he not want to try it? So this is just an example of how you want to structure a deal. If you really think that you have a good product or a good skill to where you can increase a lot of revenue for somebody's business, offer to do it for free, give them the pitch, show them that they're not going to have to put any time into it, and you're going to be saving them time, money, and increasing revenue. That is how you get a client. I am so confident of that I'll get the client. What are the real downfalls? Well, first, I'm not as good as I think I am, and that is so entirely possible. I have a humongous ego when it comes to this stuff, which I really shouldn't. You should be coming at these things very humble, but I unfortunately am an arrogant little prick, and I think everything that I do is just going to turn into gold, and it's going to turn out incredibly well. Bad habit, but it is good for business because I'm willing to take the risk. I'm coming up with the idea. I'm going to put up all of my own capital, so I think that makes sense. Another risk is my main priority is always going to be the first job I got with George Gammon. He's the one who completely changed my life. So if this has too much of an effect on my job with George, then I'm going to have to try and hire people, and that's going to add a lot of complexity, which I think could potentially ruin the whole endeavor. And then 3, he just doesn't have the time, and he just says no. I think it's a pretty low probability that he says no, but there is still that chance. So how can you structure something like this for yourself? Because I think this is actually very valuable. I have the pitch. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I have all the steps planned out, and I already understand what execution it's going to take and how we can get there. And I'm pretty realistic of what numbers this could look like for pretty much every single step of the way. So first, what you have to do is you have to understand a business model very well. And if you don't do that, you can't just skip to this step, because this took me about 2 years of working with all these guys, making nothing, literally nothing, to start to understand all the steps of the way well enough to where now I think that I can actually provide a ridiculous amount of value for someone. And if I can provide that much value, then you can be rewarded or compensated accordingly. So you have to develop these skills, whether you start working for people for free strictly to learn. I've done this so many times. I took on 3 or 4 different clients working, actually paying out of my pocket for all the employees working for free. And I lost a lot of money doing this, but only for the sole purpose to test to see what worked the best, trying out different things in every single aspect of the business, because I realized if I started 4 or 5 teams and worked for 4 or 5 different people, I could A/B test, which is just testing multiple different things that I want to try out in mass instead of just doing one person. And I was doing all this out of pocket, and guess what? I lost all my money doing it. But eventually I found something that worked. And now I'm ready to expand my product to where if I can have one client paying me $50,000 a month, that would be much more valuable than having 4 or 5 clients paying you $3,000 or $4,000 a month. But you also have a lot of overhead because you have to pay for the employees. And even though it's kind of passive, I would still much rather get the $50,000 a month client, as I'm sure anyone else would. So what is the plan after that? I think it's going to take 3 months to really get this off the ground. When I do that, I'm then going to spend a month training someone to do absolutely everything that I'm doing. And I'm going to make sure I keep a piece of everything that happens. I'll still be the overseed manager, but I don't want to be there doing everything hands-on forever. All I want to do is start something, get it automated, and once it's automated, get the residual income coming in every single month with a little bit of oversee and work. And I think this is very, very plausible. I kind of thought all of this when I was listening to an Alex Hormozi podcast when he was saying you have to squeeze out more leverage from your business. You can either do that from expanding the current business by adding additional products that you're selling, which is what I'm currently doing, or copying the same business model and doing it for more and more people. That would be Planet Fitness versus your super high-end gym. And I want to be that high-end gym. The clientele is much easier to work with and they recommend you to other people. So if I can replicate this, have everything automated within 6 to 12 months, let's just say it takes a lot longer than I was thinking, but I get it automated. And now I'm working 5 hours a week on this guy's channel, but I'm getting in $20,000 to $50,000 a month. If everything works under a perfect umbrella, like I think it will, then I can do this with somebody else. And if I do this with somebody else, then you can go from $50,000 to $100,000 very, very easy. And there's a bunch of other ideas that I have, but I do not want to count my chickens before they hatch. So without further ado, if you appreciate, because this is actually me telling you my plan to go from $10,000 to $50,000 a month. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'm an arrogant son of a prick. So I think it will because I have an overwhelming amount of confidence in myself, but I am not sure. So if you want to see how I got to this stage of my life to where I'm planning out these huge things that are most likely going to fail because most businesses that I've started have failed, you got to check it out here.